What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Triple Z Podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah Henry. I'm giving my top 10 bold predictions for the 2024-2025 season. Let's get into it. Number 10, Draymond Green will not be suspended next season. Draymond Green cost the Warriors a lot. With the 17-game suspension, 5 games for choking Rudy Gobert, and 12 games for doing like a 360 spin and hitting Jusuf Nurkic in the face. The Warriors were the 10th seed with a 46-36 record in the Western Conference. Let's say Draymond didn't get suspended for those 17 games, the Warriors would have been a 50-win team last season. Meaning they would have either been a top 6 seed for sure, but they would have either been the 4th or 5th seed. That could have changed the entire trajectory of the Western Conference playoffs if the Warriors were able to be a 4th or 5th seed. And Draymond Green has talked about it numerous of times about how he still believes the Warriors are capable of going back to the NBA Finals and potentially winning an NBA championship. That can't happen if Draymond Green is getting suspended, if he's getting kicked out of games, if he's getting more than 16 technical fouls in a season. That can't happen. Whatever you want to say about Draymond Green, whether he's sometimes out of control, he has a backpack jump shot, he looks like Donkey from Shrek, whatever you want to say about him, you have to admit this man is a Hall of Famer and he's a great player for the Golden State Warriors. What he's able to do defensively as a defensive anchor, he's able to initiate the offense, he has great chemistry with Steph Curry and Steve Kerr, he's a great screen setter. However you want to discuss it, he could do a lot of great things for the Golden State Warriors on both ends. But he is so valuable to them where he needs to stay on the court. And that means he can't feed into the mind games of other players, what they're trying to do with him. Because if he's going against Nurkic and Nurkic gives him a little bump in the back or does the too little or slaps the ground, Draymond's going to kind of overreact to that and take it to another level. Draymond can't afford to do that. And, Golden State, the dynasty's over. Klay Thompson's with the Dallas Mavericks. They got back Buddy Hield. They re-signed Kevon Looney. Brandon Podziemski and Jonathan Kuminga. They're going to take another step into their game. They were really good last season. If you hear noise in the background, that's just my cat playing around. But you good, gang? She's about to roll up on us. I think Brandon Podziemski and Jonathan Kuminga are getting more familiar with this franchise. And really, once Steph and Draymond retire, Golden State's looking at those two players to really take on the mantle. They signed Steph Curry to a $62 million contract that has him under contract until the 2026-2027 season. So Golden State, while the dynasty is over, there may be a chance where they can still make the playoffs and go on a deep playoff run. Draymond, going into next season, has to understand he can't afford to not be on the court, because there were so many times, especially with the 17 games, there were so many other times where he got ejected, he got a technical foul, he got kicked out, and he's leaving Steph Curry out there by himself. We've heard Draymond on so many other podcasts and interviews talk so highly about Stephen Curry, yet you leave him out there by himself due to your actions. Draymond has to understand that. So it's going to be a year where he doesn't get suspended. That's a really bold prediction, but if Draymond is talking all this, we can still win a championship, we can still go on a deep playoff run. Even though the dynasty's over, we still have a really great team led by Stephen Curry, who's still elite in this league, who's still a superstar, still the greatest shooter of all time, no debate about it. If Draymond believes that, he has to get his act together and stay on the court. Number 9, the Clippers will not make the playoffs. This is solely on Kawhi Leonard's health. Kawhi Leonard last season, there was a 40-game stretch. It was probably during that time frame where it was December or January, where the Clippers were looking like the best team in the NBA. They had like the first seed for the first time in a while. Kawhi Leonard was looking like an MVP candidate. He was getting it done on both ends. He was scoring efficiently. He was getting to his spots. He was looking comfortable on the court. It didn't seem like there was anything holding him back, especially with the injuries. So he's playing 40 games. He's playing, I think he qualified for all NBA teams. He was eligible for all NBA teams. I'm not sure, but I know he played 60 or more games, which is really great for Kawhi Leonard. That hasn't happened since, I really want to say, 2019. Kawhi Leonard over the past couple of years hasn't shown the ability to stay durable, to stay on the floor come postseason time. Now, he played 2 or 3 games out of the 5 against the Dallas Mavericks in round 1. He didn't look like himself. He looked awful. Averaged 12 points, didn't shoot great from the field, didn't shoot great from the three-point line. He just wasn't a factor that we know he's capable of being when he's at his best. So he has the knee injury. Clippers get bounced in the first round. They trade Paul George, or Paul George leaves in free agency. And when you look at the Clippers overall, the past 5 years, it's been a disappointment. It's been a disappointment. And Kawhi signed the extension in January, 150, I want to say. They didn't give it to Paul George. The Clippers made some moves. They were able to get their hands on a few players in the league. Kevin Porter Jr., Nicholas Batum. Who else? They got Mo Bamba, Chris Dunn, Derek Jones Jr. Decent pieces, but right now the Clippers are in a position where they're looking up to the Western Conference. And their season is solely on the fact on if Kawhi Leonard can play 60 or more games. If Kawhi Leonard is playing anywhere from 40 to 50-ish games, Clippers got no chance. They got no chance. They'll make the play-in, but we know damn well Kawhi Leonard is not going to be healthy because he hasn't shown it over the past couple of years. We haven't seen a healthy postseason from Kawhi Leonard since 2019. That's when he won the championship and went on that historic playoff run in 2019 when he won the championship with the Toronto Raptors. We haven't seen that in 5 years, 6 years. He hasn't shown the ability after that championship run to stay on the court during the postseason. And that's been a problem with the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, their team isn't terrible. I like the pieces they got, but Nicholas Batum is getting a little bit older. Derek Jones Jr., he's a good defender, but offensively, he's not giving you that much. Kevin Porter Jr. should probably be out of the league, but when he was on the court, he was able to show a good offensive game with the Houston Rockets. Mo Bamba was a backup big for the 76ers. Didn't really see that much playing time on the court, especially in the playoffs. So the Clippers, they have a team, but it's not a team where it's going to be competitive in the Western Conference unless Kawhi Leonard can play 60 or more games, but that is not likely at all. Now, James Harden got a 2-year extension worth $70 million. James Harden isn't known for his playoff moments. Really, he's more known for kind of selling short. Don't get me wrong, he had some good moments against the Dallas Mavericks, but when it really mattered in that game 5 or 6, he wasn't able to close out. He wasn't able to show up. So if you have Kawhi Leonard, who since 2019 hasn't shown the ability to stay on the court healthy for the postseason, and James Harden, who doesn't really show up at all in the postseason, that doesn't really clash together. That doesn't really put a formula together that the Clippers are going to make it to the playoffs. Number 8, Derek Lively will win Most Improved Player. Most Improved Player is a weird award because it should be given to a player that isn't on a lot of people's radar. Like, I understand Tyrese Maxey winning the award. He had a spectacular season with the Philadelphia 76ers, a career high in points, steals, rebounds, shooting percentages. The turnovers went down. Like, he was great. Had multiple 50-point games, made an all-star team, signed that contract in the offseason, well-deserved. But once James Harden got traded from the 76ers to Los Angeles, come on, let's be real. Like, we can see Tyrese Maxey having a massive impact on the 76ers from a mile away. It should be given to players where nobody's expecting that kind of development, but when it happens, you're like, oh wow, it's really helping his team, but it's mostly helping his career and helping his play style improve and take another leap to that level, right? So with Derek Lively, with the addition of Klay Thompson, the floor is just going to be more spacious. Like, you have Luka Doncic bringing up the ball, but then you have Klay Thompson, the greatest shooter, one of the greatest shooters of all time, still in this league today. Kyrie Irving, who's one of the most gifted offensive players in this generation. You have Luka Doncic bringing up the ball. That's going to work wonders not only for Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington, but more specifically, Derek Lively II. Derek Lively, the responsibilities he had at 20 years old, dealing with some injuries, being a rookie, dealing with the passing of his mother, God bless her soul, the way how he was able to utilize that to his advantage and use it as fuel when he stepped on the court. On the court, he showed how mature he is with his game. And life's going to be pretty damn easy for Derek Lively, man. He's a defensive anchor. He can run the floor. He can rebound. He's going to get to the basket. He's going to get to the free throw line. He's good in the short pick and roll. Way better than Daniel Gafford. Like, when you gave it to Daniel Gafford, he didn't know what he wanted to do when Luka drew 2 on the ball or whether Kyrie had 2 on the ball. They passed it to Daniel Gafford. He didn't know what to do. When you pass it to Derek Lively, he knows what to do. He knows whether to make it a pass to the corner, to the wing, or get inside the paint, get to the free throw line. Whether he finishes or not, he's still providing extra possessions for the Dallas Mavericks. He averaged 8 points and 6 rebounds in his rookie year. He's going to go anywhere. I say he's averaging 15 and 9 next season. Mind you, he's one of my favorite players, so there might be some bias. But what I'm saying is pretty legit. He has some really good moments, some great moments actually, in the last postseason. His best moment, Game 2 at Minnesota, top of the key guarding Anthony Edwards, has his hands up, moving his feet, stood his ground, didn't fall for any pump fakes or step throughs, caused Anthony Edwards to leave his feet and turn over the ball. That was his best play, and then it led to Luka Doncic putting Rudy Gobert in, the deep fryer and cooking him straight like that. So Derek Lively, he's going to have a great season. I'm looking forward to his development. He's going to be a cornerstone piece for the Dallas Mavericks in the future. Trust me on that. Number 7, most three-pointers made in a game 14 will be broken this season. Keegan Murray had the most three-pointers made with 12 last season. After that, it was like players like Dante DiVincenzo, Steph Curry making 11. Who else? Oh, there was multiple players that had 10 three-pointers in a game, 9 three-pointers in a game. I know LeBron had one, CJ McCollum. Jalen Brunson went 9 for 9 and scored 50 points on the Phoenix Suns. So, there's multiple players that can go off and hit 10 threes, 11 threes, 12 threes in a game. We've seen it multiple times. And it's inevitable in an NBA season where we're going to see somebody get extremely hot, hit 4, 5, 6 three-pointers in a row with no heat check. That's going to happen in this season. I don't know who is going to... Well, my best guess will be either Steph Curry or Trae Young because they got the green light. The Warriors, they got Buddy Hield and Brandon Pajensky and, Kyle Anderson and all these other players. But, Steph Curry's going to have the ball, and nobody's going to have a problem with Steph putting up a couple shots a game from 3. I will say it has to be on at least 30 attempts, which seems crazy. But if Steph Curry puts up 30 attempts from 3, nobody's going to check him. Come on, bro. Especially if he's in 11, 12, 13, nobody's going to check him. And nobody's going to check Steph Curry. Number 6, this might get the people talking. The Knicks will make the finals. Hear me out. The East has gotten better. I think it's top heavy with Philadelphia, the Celtics, Knicks, and the Bucks. But teams like the Orlando Magic, the Indiana Pacers, the Cavs, they're no walk in the park in the East, right? I personally believe it's either the Knicks or the Celtics going to the finals. Here's why I have the Knicks going to the finals. Kristaps Porzingis is going to miss, a decent amount of games in the first portion of the season with a leg injury, I believe. If I'm the New York Knicks, I'm shooting straight for that first seed. Because if the Eastern Conference has to run through MSG in the playoffs, meaning everything runs through New York, that can be a serious advantage for the New York Knicks. I thought the Knicks could have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I thought that was their ceiling. They had some injuries with Jalen Brunson. Julius Randle was out. And they lost to the Indiana Pacers in Game 7, and they got bounced. I get that, right? But the Knicks, you could say they were the most aggressive team in the offseason. Gave 4 to 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. They gave OG Anunoby the 5-year contract. Jalen Brunson signs an extension. He takes a $113 million pay cut. You got Julius Randle coming back. Even though Julius Randle is on his last year of the contract, we don't know if he's going to get an extension. I don't know. And let me say this about Julius Randle. A lot of people are making it seem like he doesn't fit in or he's not a part of the New York Knicks. Julius Randle is a player that can get you 24 and 10 every single night. He's an all-NBA player. He's an all-star player. And the Knicks really missed him in the postseason because they missed that person where Jalen Brunson doesn't have to be so ball dominant with the ball and try to do everything offensively for the New York Knicks. They missed that other option where they can drop it down to Julius Randle. He's going to play bully ball. He's going to get you multiple free throws a game, and he's going to score inside whether he's getting the and one or he's going to the free throw line. Now, he can hit the 3 as well. Does he shoot it too many times? Yes, but he can space out the floor and create more opportunities for Jalen Brunson. For Jalen Brunson, for Josh Hart, for DiVincenzo, for OG Anunoby, for Mikal Bridges. So the Knicks believe in a 5-year span, they can win 1 championship. Why can't it be this year? I understand the Boston Celtics. They're a great team, a historic team. With Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, all these other players, Al Horford, Drew Holiday. I get that. And I'm not saying that the Boston Celtics aren't capable of going to the NBA Finals. They are. They're capable of winning the finals. But the Knicks, I like how they're situated right now. Now, the most questionable thing about them is the center position. I mean, it's Mitchell Robinson and Precious Achiuwa, but that roster is deep. I remember Becky, the coach of the Aces, said that Jalen Brunson can't be a 1A guy or lead a team to the championship because he's too small. And I was never able to get on board with that. I can admit I was not a huge fan of the Knicks signing Jalen Brunson at first with the $100 million contract. I was like, really, Jalen Brunson? I know he had those moments in Dallas and that playoff series against the Jazz where Luka was injured and Jalen Brunson just took off. I was questionable. I was like, really, Jalen Brunson? But then once I saw that full season after he signed that contract, I was like, oh, like that's why they gave him all that money. Jalen Brunson is elite. He's a superstar. Finished top 5 in MVP voting, made an All-NBA team, made his first All-Star team. The man could have signed a $200 million plus contract, but yet he took a pay cut of $113 million to make the team more flexible. Like, Jalen Brunson is elite. He's seen as a god in NYC, bro. He's seen as a god. Like, I was never able to get on board with her saying that. I'm like, Jalen Brunson can get the job done. I don't know. He's that damn good to me. He's a superstar. He's that damn good to me. He was like first or second in playoff scoring. Like, this man, I mean, the footwork, the reverse pivots, the one pull-up jump shot at the elbow, he can do it all, bro. It's so fun watching Jalen Brunson play basketball. It's so fun. It's mesmerizing. He's so fun to watch. But if I'm the Knicks, I'm taking advantage of the Knicks not having one of their core pieces in Porzingis, and I'm shooting for that first seed. And I know multiple teams and players and coaches say, like, oh, the first seed doesn't matter. Like, if we get in the playoffs, we get in the playoffs, and we're going to, beat any team in front of us. If I'm the Knicks, it's not like Philadelphia getting the 1 seed and everything has to run through Philadelphia. It's not like Miami and you got to go through Miami in the first round and all that type of stuff. If the Knicks get the first seed and everything has to run through MSG in the playoffs, man, that could be hell for some teams. Not a lot of players and teams can handle that MSG atmosphere, bro. And I'm from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. I've been there for 21 years. If the Knicks win the championship, bro, that would be crazy. Like, I'm damn sure not going to the parade. I know how New York can get, bro. It's crazy out there. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if the Empire State Building's on fire. Like, New York Knicks fans are crazy. Number 5, Tyrese Maxey will make an All-NBA team. Great season. I said it before. Made his first All-Star team. Signed a pretty good contract in the offseason. Averaged a career high in points, steals, rebounds, all that type of stuff, right? And Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey were the best duo in the league. Best duo in the league. Had the 76ers as a top 3 seed. Joel Embiid well on his way to winning his second MVP. Tyrese Maxey letting people know, like, hey, I'm an all-star caliber player. I'm that damn good in this league. Highest scoring duo in the league. You had Joel Embiid averaging like 34, and you had Tyrese Maxey averaging 25 points. Like, they were the highest scoring duo. Like, they were looking so dominant. Joel Embiid goes down. Instead of being a 3 seed, they go down to the 7 seed. And Tyrese Maxey has a new role. He has a new role, meaning he has to hold it down until the big fella comes back. And he does. They get the 7 seed. They solidify the 7 seed. They go against the Knicks in round 1. They get bounced. But it doesn't end there for the 76ers. They had a pretty good offseason. They had 2 roster spots available for max contracts. They gave it to Paul George, obviously, and they gave one to Tyrese Maxey. They could have gave it to him last season, I believe, but they, negotiated with him to like, hey, wait until next season, and then we can get like 2 of you guys on board. Joel Embiid has talked about wanting to be his healthiest when it's time for playoffs or the postseason, whatever, right? The 76ers should run everything through Tyrese Maxey. I know Joel Embiid's the best player. All-NBA, All-Star, MVP. I get that. Scored 70 points in the game. I get that. If he wants to stay healthy in April, May, June, he's going to take a step back offensively because you got Paul George and Tyrese Maxey. But I would really, if I'm the 76ers, I would really push everything with Tyrese Maxey, having him as the focal point of the offense. And it may sound crazy. Some of you guys in the comments might say, what the hell are you talking about? I know. It would work best for the 76ers if Joel Embiid takes let me not say that, but if Joel Embiid takes a huge step back offensively meaning he's not averaging 35 points. He's averaging anywhere from like 25 points. Obviously, Paul George is going to get his touches and his shots, but they should run that offense through Tyrese Maxey, where Tyrese Maxey's averaging 25, and then he goes to like 25 to 28 points. Tyrese Maxey's the face of the franchise. I get Joel Embiid's grace. I get that. Tyrese Maxey's the face of the franchise. I'll go back and forth with anybody on that. If they run everything through Tyrese Maxey, and Tyrese Maxey has shown multiple times he can get 50, he can close out a ball game, he's not scared of the moment, he can take clutch shots. He's a dog. He's a straight dog. He's gotten a little bit more bulky too. He's ready for next season. I'm looking forward to seeing him play in Philadelphia. If Joel Embiid wants to stay healthy, late in May, June, and all those other months, whatever, right? Run that team through Tyrese Maxey. And then when the postseason comes, Joel Embiid's healthy, he's not banged up, he's not bruised, and he's ready to take off. Now, does that make Philadelphia a team that makes it to the Eastern Conference Finals? I don't know. Like I said, I got the Knicks or the Boston Celtics coming out of the East. I can so be wrong about that. You know, I can always admit when I'm wrong. And I'm always open to listening to other people's opinions and analysis about the game of basketball. But if Philly wants a great chance of having a more compelling playoff run that offense through Tyrese Maxey, put him in a position where he can make an All-NBA team. If he's averaging anywhere from 25 and on, I could see him averaging 28 points, 28, 6 and 4. That's all NBA caliber right there. And Joel Embiid takes a back seat. You got Paul George there as well, so you might give him some time to shine as well. If I'm Joel Embiid, take a back seat, let your body rest, play anywhere from 60 to 65 games so you can still qualify for, who knows, All-NBA team and All-Star and all that contracts and stuff. If I'm Joel Embiid, take a back seat, let Tyrese Maxey eat for the regular season, and then when postseason comes, be the Joel Embiid that should dominate in the playoffs. Number 4, I went over this before, but Wembanyama won't win Defensive Player of the Year. This was in my last video. Go check it out. It's really good. I'll go over this quickly. I said before, like, Warriors were 46 and 36 as the 10th seed and didn't make the playoffs. They were in the play-in, but didn't make the playoffs. I know the Spurs added Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes, 2 great veteran players, and I like the idea of one of the greatest point guards paired up with one of the greatest prospect, if not the greatest prospect, in Victor Wembanyama. I love that, right? And Spurs, I said it before, they still got some draft capital to work with where they can use it to their advantage at the trade deadline and improve their roster. The Spurs won 22 games last season. Ain't no way in hell they're going from 22 wins to 45 plus. No way. The Western Conference just got more chaotic. It got more dangerous, more competitive, more insane. Like the Spurs, while they are a little bit more competitive with Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes, they're not winning 45 plus games. Since that award was created in 1983, no player has won DPOY and haven't made the playoffs. Now, I know it's obvious to give Victor DPOY. I understand why the odds are in his favor to win the award. He was causing havoc on this league defensively. He was just shutting everything down. He's a great defensive playmaker. He's going to get you steals. He's going to get you blocks. He's going to get deflections. He's going to make you think twice about what kind of shot you take at the rim while he's there. Great defensive playmaker. And he's on the path to becoming one of, if not the greatest defender of all time. We can't give that award, and I think DPOY to me is the second most important award behind MVP. We can't give that award to somebody that hasn't made the playoffs. That's not going to make the playoffs. That's really just it for me. I understand why it's obvious to give him the award, but the Spurs are not making the playoffs. And if they do, like I said, I got no problem admitting I was wrong. But they can't compete with the Timberwolves, the Nuggets, Sacramento, the Lakers, Golden State, the Rockets look pretty more convincing than the Spurs. Like, they can't compete with these teams. They really can't. They really can't. Not saying that he's not going to win the award ever. I believe there's 6 more years in this decade. He can win the next 5 out of 6, 4 out of 6. But this year, in the second year, he's not winning DPOY. It'll probably go to Rudy. Most people will hate that. Bam Adebayo or Anthony Davis. I thought Anthony Davis should have won it last season. Just saying. But no, he won't win DPOY. Number 3, Anthony Davis will finish top 5 in MVP voting. Let me admit this. Heading into last season, I had Anthony Davis as my preseason MVP. I like the moves the Lakers made during that offseason. Last year's offseason, they re-signed Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, D'Angelo Russell. They added Prince. They added Gabe Vincent. They had Anthony Davis and LeBron James coming in healthy to that season. And it was a disappointment. And I had them being a top 3 seed in the Western Conference. They finished as a 7 seed. Barely made it through the play-in. But with J.J. Redick being the new head coach, he's going to have Anthony Davis as the main guy on the Los Angeles Lakers. It shouldn't be a back and forth debate next season. Like last season it was like, who's the best player? LeBron. Oh, no, it's Anthony Davis. Back and forth. Yeah. This season, it should solely be Anthony Davis is the best player on the Los Angeles Lakers. And with the Lakers, LeBron and Anthony Davis had their healthiest season. I believe they both played 65-plus games, which is great, right? And those two players playing those amount of games is great, but they still made it as a 7 seed. The Lakers, what their problem was, they had so many different lineups. Multiple players were injured. The rotation was inconsistent. Like Jared Vanderbilt, who's a valuable perimeter defender for the Lakers, was out for a good portion of the season. Gabe Vincent, he played late in the playoffs, I want to say, but he was out for at least 70 games. Rui Hachimura had some injuries. D'Angelo Russell had some injuries. And then, you had the moments where LeBron and Anthony Davis weren't on the court, right? So the Lakers, while I don't think they'll be a top 3 seed, they can be a top 6 seed. They can get that 6 seed in the Western Conference. Like, it's only teams really like Timberwolves, Nuggets, OKC, the Mavericks. And then from there on, 4 through maybe 10, congested. The Lakers can make it out to be a top 6 seed in the Western Conference. I hope so. I don't know. I hope so. Like, because I'm a LeBron fan. I'm an Austin Reeves fan. He's my favorite player, Austin Reeves. So I'm gonna stick with the Lakers, but I don't know. Hopefully JJ Redick can bring the best out of Anthony Davis. JJ Redick seems like a very intelligent basketball player, and I know LeBron said he had no say in JJ Redick being the next head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. You having a podcast with JJ Redick says enough that you had a say with JJ Redick being the next head coach. Come on, LeBron. Come on, we ain't fools out here. But Anthony Davis, I will say this. I had him as Defensive Player of the Year. The Lakers won 40-plus games. I don't know the specific number. 80% of their wins was because of Anthony Davis' defense. I watched a lot of Lakers games. Anthony Davis won them so many games with his defense. That's why I thought he should have been Defensive Player of the Year. If you watch the Lakers, Anthony Davis was cleaning up everything. The same way how he was cleaning up everything in the Olympics. There was a reason why he was a starter. There was a reason why he was finishing in the fourth quarter. Like, Anthony Davis is so valuable on both ends. He could do a lot of different things. Like, he averaged, 25, 12, and 2.5 blocks last season. There was moments where he wasn't putting up 25 points. He wasn't putting up 30 points. But defensively, he was always locked in. But with J.J. Redick being there, and the Lakers didn't make any moves in the offseason, but what they have working in their favor, they have the same group of guys coming back. They can build more on their chemistry. They have more continuity. They're familiar with each other. And with J.J. Redick being there, having a new set of eyes on this team, really, he can bring the best out of Anthony Davis. Number 2, Victor Wembanyama will get at least 2 or more quadruple doubles. We know it's going to come with points and rebounds. Like, he averaged 21 and 10 last season. He's going to get a game where he has 23, 10 rebounds, 10 blocks, and 10 steals. Like, he can fill up the stat sheets either way. He can get a double-double offensively and defensively. He can have 10 blocks and 10 steals in a game. He can have 21 points and 10 rebounds in a game. Like, he can fill up the stat sheet like no other. He had multiple 5x5 games. He had a career high in blocks with 9 against the Toronto Raptors, I want to say. And then he had a career high in steals, I want to say, against the Denver Nuggets. So he can fill up the stat sheet. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. He's going to get a quadruple double. It may be 1, whatever, but I can see him getting at least 2 quadruple doubles through next season. And number 1, Tyrese Halliburton will either tie or break the all-time in-game 30 assists record next season. Rick Carlisle has a free-flowing offense with the Indiana Pacers. It's not really a bunch of set plays. He really lets them play freely, especially with Tyrese Halliburton being the engine. And with Halliburton, before the injury, he was looking like an all-NBA player, top 10 player in the league. He was averaging 24 points and 12 assists. That's pretty damn elite, if you ask me. After the injury, averaged 16 and 9, but that was still good enough to get the Pacers to the NBA playoffs. But their offense, it's free-flowing, it's fast, it has a good amount of pace to it. Everyone's looking to score. Everyone can score. And Halliburton is the reason for that. Like, there was so many games where Halliburton had 15 assists, 2 turnovers. 17 assists, 4 turnovers. 12 assists, 1 turnover. 10 assists, 0 turnovers. The time where he had 20 assists back-to-back nights, he had 42 assists with 2 turnovers in that 2-game stretch. That is ridiculous. 42 assists to 2 turnovers is ridiculous. Like, passing's my favorite skill. I love passing. I can watch passing highlights. I can call out a good, decent, great, excellent pass like this. Like that. I love passing. And Halliburton, one of the best passers, one of the best facilitators in the NBA. And with the Pacers, they're looking to score off a made basket, missed free throw, all that. Like, they're just looking to get up the court fast and looking to have your defense scrambling all over because the ball is moving so fast. Especially, with Halliburton getting it up the court really quickly with the advanced pass. He's looking to get the ball out of his hand and just have his teammates in a position to score to the best of their ability. It would have to be on a night where, do you guys remember game 4 in the playoffs, in the conference finals, in the semi-conference finals against the Knicks? It was game 3 or game 4 where the game was over quick. Like, after the first quarter, it was over. Like, Indiana had everything falling for them. It has to be one of those kind of nights where the offense is just going crazy. And with the Pacers, there was a reason why they were the best offensive team in the NBA last season. Now, they kind of fell off a little bit with Halliburton having the hamstring injury, but they were looking great offensively. They'll probably be a top 5. They'll be a top 5 offense in the league next season. But with the Pacers re-signing TJ McConnell, Obi Toppin, Andrew Nembhard, who else they got? They have Siakam for a full training camp and a full season. They got Benedict Mathurin. I'm curious to see how he plays next season. I think he can have a little bounce back year after the injury he suffered last season. They have so many offensive weapons, and that bench unit can really, really score the basketball. They led the NBA in bench point, averaging like 55 points off the bench. That's insane. The Pacers offense is deadly. It is really deadly. They really got to fix some things defensively. But offensively, they're pretty much set. And with Halliburton leading the way, looking to get the ball out of his hand fast so he can put his teammates in a position to score and just get the ball rolling, just get the offensive flowing and to get the rhythm, at building up. Halliburton, he's either going to break or tie that record. He had 20 assists in a game. That's ridiculous. Who had the most? Before that was Rondo, right? With like 25? Oh, nah. Who was before? Who had? I don't even know. I'm not sure, but I can see Halliburton having 30 or more assists next season. Those are my top 10 bold predictions. Let me know down in the comment section which ones are more realistic, which one is kind of far-fetched, and let me know down in the comment section what bold predictions you have for the 2024-2025 season. Thank you for listening to the Triple Z Podcast. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Zzz.